Hello and welcome, organizational freaks, Marie Kondo fans. This tutorial is all about getting organized and being more efficient. I'm Nick Sanders. This is Video Deconstructed. Many jobs in post-production are flat fee type of job. So a client comes along with a specific job and they have a certain amount of money and that's all they have. So if you take that job, you're committing to complete it no matter how long it takes. And the quicker you are, the more efficient you are, the more organized you are, the more money you're going to get for your time. Organizational tip number 1, customizing your track header or track layout and keeping your track name visible. If you never name your audio or video tracks, then this tip will not make a difference to you. But since this tutorial is about being organized, I will tell you that you should definitely be naming your audio tracks if you plan to send a mix to an audio engineer. I made a video about that, and I'll put the link in the upper right-hand corner as well as in the description below. Here we have a brand new sequence, and you can see when I make the track heights taller by holding shift and scrolling my mouse wheel, all of the tracks have their default names, and when I shrink the tracks down to their smallest size, you can't read that name. Let's imagine I have a massive sequence with lots of audio and video tracks, and I'll just make up some names. So now I'm being super organized, but in order to see all of my tracks, I have to shrink them down. But then I can't see the names. Not a good default if you ask me. So let's fix that. Right-click on your Video 1 track and choose Customize. If you have never gone in here to customize, then your customized layout should look like mine. But if it doesn't, you might need to click the Reset Layout button for my instructions to work. You will see a V1, and that represents your track name, which is currently defaulting to the name Video 1. Click and drag that down to be next to the eyeball icon. Now, if you shrink your video tracks down to their smallest size, you will still be able to read the name of your track. Super cool. For the audio, you can do the same thing, much better. Organizational tip number 2, create track height presets. Before I show you the track height presets, you might want to just use the built-in minimize all tracks and expand all tracks preset that is built into Premiere Pro. If you go to the wrench menu of your sequence window, you can choose minimize all tracks and expand all tracks. The shortcut for that is Shift- to minimize and Shift+ to expand, and I'm using the plus-minus keys that are part of the _= keys. If you want more than just those two options, you can create track height presets by setting your track heights how you want them. Let's say you want to have all of your video shrunk down while you work on your audio. Go to your wrench menu in the sequence panel. I'll call this audio mixing and make it preset 1. Now, if I go back to the wrench menu, you can see the minimize and expand options that are built in. And now I have the audio mixing preset that I just created. You can make that a keyboard shortcut, and I have a video about that. And you should see a link in the upper right-hand corner. I'll put a link in the description below as well. Organizational tip number 3, but this is more on the efficiency side, set up track patching presets. This is a great way to save yourself some clicking. When you load a video that has audio included into the source monitor, you will see the source patch assignment in your sequence window. Look at the far left side of my sequence window. When I double click on this clip, you can see that V1 and A1 turned on. I know that if I tap the period key, the shortcut to overwrite a clip onto the timeline, this clip in the source monitor will be put on V1 and A1 tracks. And in this example, I will end up overwriting some of my video that is already there and also adding the audio of the rushing water, which let's just say I didn't want that for this particular example. I can create presets for some of my more common scenarios and then make keyboard shortcuts for those. As an example, I'll make one for V2 only, V3 only, and V2 along with A2. Turn on the destinations that you want. Right-click in the far left area of the sequence panel and Save Preset. Now I can right-click to access these, just like I did in the track height presets. but that doesn't really save me any time. I might as well just click the tracks I want assigned using the mouse. I need to make keyboard shortcuts for these presets to increase my efficiency. So Command-Option-K for Mac or Control-Alt-K for PC. That'll bring up your keyboard shortcuts window. Type in source AS and then you'll see the source assignment presets show up. Now just click in the shortcut column and choose a shortcut. I'll do Command 1, 2 for the video only tracks, and then I'll use Option 1, 2, 3 if I want to include audio along with it. Now I can type Command 1, 2, 3 and just cycle through these options. I didn't bother creating a preset for V1 and A1 because Premiere Pro has that already built in. I just need to assign the shortcut. If you noticed, when I right-clicked, there was this default source assignment. And search for that, and I'll make that Command 0. So now I can use my keyboard shortcut Command 2 so I can overwrite this clip onto the video track 2 without including the audio that I didn't want. This works the same if you are just dragging a clip from the project window onto a video track. If the audio is not assigned, you will only get the video. But notice if I turn on the audio patching, the destination of the audio matches the video in number. So if I drag to video track 3, the audio will go to audio 3, even though the patch is set to audio 2. Just something to keep in mind. Organizational and efficiency tip number 4, create custom workspaces. One of my favorite organizational aspects of Adobe products is the ability to drag panels and create a customized workspace for the task you are on. This is especially useful if you are working with 2 monitors. Adobe has all of their built-in workspaces right here along the top of everything, and you can find them here under Windows Workspaces. These are designed for if you're only on a single monitor though. Even if you aren't working on 2 monitors, there's a good chance you're going to want to customize these, so let's take a look at that. If I was done editing and wanted to focus on my audio, doing some sound design and mixing, I might click on Adobe's Audio Workspace. But let's just say this isn't what I want. I want to stretch out my tracks as tall as I could. I'm going to go back to my editing workspace and then just start closing panels and rearranging. I would suggest just playing around with this and having fun with it, and you'll get used to it. It took me a little bit when they first came out with this a few years ago, and eventually you'll get the hang of how to put windows where you want, and you're going to love it. So here I have created my own custom workspace, and I'm going to go up to Windows, Workspace, and Save as New Workspace. I'll call this Sound Design, and then boom, it shows up right here in my list at the top. If you create a bunch and you don't see some of the ones you created, you might need to go in and edit workspaces. You can also click on this double arrow button to get into that. So under this Edit Workspaces, if I close these up, you can see what's going on a lot easier. You have the bar that's talking about here, and then the overflow menu that is talking about these guys. So all panels, meta logging, and production are also a workspace. It's just not in your list up here in the bar. But if you wanted production to be up there, you could drag it from here and put it wherever you want it to be. Now when I hit OK, we've got production in our bar up here. And you can put it back in the overflow. Now, let's say I'm done with sound design and I want to go back to my editing workspace, the default, the one that comes with Premiere Pro. I click and what's this all about? Well, because I rearranged this particular workspace, when I saved it as a new workspace, Premiere created the new sound design workspace and automatically put me into that. But it left this editing workspace as I had left it. So I just need to click on the editing workspace drop-down menu here and reset to saved layout. Last tip, number 5, save your shortcuts to a flash drive. If you only work from home and you always back up your internal drive, maybe you don't have to worry about this. But if you are going to go to a studio and do some work as a freelancer, you're going to want your keyboard shortcuts at the very least. That is assuming you've created more than a handful, and I hope you do. Since I created some custom keyboard shortcuts earlier, I should save those to my own set. To do that, I'm going to open my keyboard shortcuts window, and you can see up here it says custom as opposed to the Adobe Premiere Pro default. Premiere knows that I have changed its default set. So I'm going to save as and call mine Nick KS for keyboard shortcuts. Okay, You may be familiar with Adobe's ability to sync your settings to your username, and then you can just log into your user at the studio where you are going to freelance, and like magic, everything just shows up. If you look down here at the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the Creative Cloud logo, and if you click on it, you have your sync menu options. I've had issues with that on multiple occasions, and I just don't rely on it. But even if you chalk up my experience to user error, there are some studios that are locked down and you can't log into your Adobe user account. You can't get on the internet. You are forced to log in through their system. So it would benefit you greatly if you had your settings on a flash drive. And even then, you might have to ask permission to get the drive to show up on your computer, since they might have security software preventing you from connecting external drives that might have malware on them. So let's assume you can connect the flash drive. Here's what you want to do. Go to your system drive, users, whatever your username is that you created for your system, documents, Adobe, Premiere Pro, the version number of Premiere that you're in, and then it'll have profile and then again your username. You could just copy the entire profile folder onto your flash drive, but the file that is your keyboard shortcuts is located inside the Mac folder if you're on a Mac, or the Win folder if you're on a PC. If you recall, I saved my custom keyboard shortcut as Nick KS, and here it is. That is the most important one you're going to want. And even though I bring that with me, just in case I can't get that onto the system I'm on, I like to even have a list that I save onto my phone of all the keyboard shortcuts. And then on that first day at a studio, if for some reason I couldn't get the keyboard shortcuts to work, I can just slowly start adding them in onto that system. That's it. I hope you are feeling a little more joy with these organizational and efficiency tips. Thanks for hanging with me to the end. I'm Nick Sanders. This is Video Deconstructed. Share your organizational tips in the comments. Thank you.